shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I...
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, September 5th, 2021. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, the man downstairs, right there, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hello, Chris.
Steve, how are you doing, sir?
I couldn't be better if you shook 5 sticks at me.
It's good to see you. It's good to be back on. And looks like the chat room is really hopping. Hi, everybody.
Always hops. And boy, have we got some stuff. Now, this is the first time. Remember, we said we were going to go to YouTube only, and we are only broadcasting on YouTube tonight because we can't comment on Facebook comments. Yeah. So we can only do those on online anyway. So it was slowly going downhill, and Facebook was a pain in the butt. YouTube is made for this. People can catch it on replay when I post it if they don't. Yeah. And hey, just so people know, the audio broadcasts are now going to be on Amazon Music and Audible as well. Yay. That's a brand new yes, Justin, that's right. Happy Labor Day. Tomorrow's Labor Day. Yeah. Yep. Nice 3-day weekend for folks. And boy, well, Chris knows I've had quite the interesting day today.
It's been a busy time.
It's been very busy. What I expected only to be like a quick 15-20 minute foray turned out to be half the day. Yeah. So, but not for bad reasons, only for good. But Chris, as we've always done it before, let's go down the roll call and say hi to some of our friends.
Oh, yeah.
And hello to Lance, who was the first in the door today. He wanted the good seats.
Lance, number one
tonight. And of course, we got Low Rider. Hello, Low Rider.
Am
and Chris, good to see you.
Am and Chris, good to see you.
And we got Aotiara from Kia Ora from New Zealand. Kia, good to see you again.
New Zealand, welcome.
Yes. B, of course, B Lynn is in the house.
Yeah.
Always to start the trouble. Grasshopper, hello. Alan, good to see you. Who else we got in here? Aaron, good to see you, Aaron. Aaron Mollenkoff, our good friend. And we got Jeff Trifoletti in. Good to see you, Jeff.
Hey,
I hope all is well with you, brother. You've been in my prayers every day, bro. Every day. So good to see you here. Sarah, hello, Sarah. That's Sarah Putnam. Good to see you.
Hi, Sarah.
And of course, something to Sasquatch about's in the house. Justin,
welcome.
Yep, Justin Butler. Hello, Justin, and thank you for that.
Welcome.
Happy and let's see.
Oh yeah, everybody loves a 3-day weekend, Justin. Everybody.
And Jay, I don't know what you're trying to say there.
Foles.
Well, that's okay. You know what we can do with him if he becomes more of a troll.
No. It's probably where he's like a Jacksonville football.
I don't know. Oops. For a second there, Jay, I was like, hey.
Hey, Sherry.
I pity the fool. Who spiked my milk? Anyway,
while we were off, I got caught up on some.
He meant the right folks.
I got caught up on some TV binging, and there was one show. It's called The Good Place, and I think it's on Netflix. Gosh, either Netflix or Hulu. And 2 or 3 seasons of it, whatever. It's funny. You guys, and there's one character on there. He always hollers for Nick Foles because he was from Jacksonville. Foles every time he does anything. Oh, well, hilarious.
You know, it's funny. It's not like I've been sitting around. Actually, the reason why I took the time off was not only to get thrown in that stupid kerfuffle, but it was time anyway to go through my store's inventory cycle. A lot of people may or may not know I took a new job in April, just before I had to quarantine because my old boss came in with COVID and I had to quarantine myself for a while. Didn't get it. Of course, I'm vaxxed, so thankfully I did not catch COVID. So I had to sit around for 10 days doing nothing, and I got paid for it by the other company, so that was cool. Then I started the new job, and it's a little more responsibilities on the inventory side, a lot more money, and even in 6 more months, hopefully, keep fingers crossed. The old boy man here is hopefully up for a promotion. So
and traditionally, usually, I won't say this happens every time, but normally the sightings fall off during midsummer, during the hottest months of the year. For some reason, and the viewers fall off too because they're busy going on vacation and doing what they're doing. Yeah. And what a better way than to start on Labor Day weekend, the new season of Squatch-D TV. Yeah. And like I said, I've been running around 3 different states, working with my company, assisting in inventories. And one of the fun things I get to do is I get to review firearm paperwork all the time now. So 4453 or something like that.
4473.
4473. Yeah. It's been a while, but I remember those.
Good God, I'm sick of seeing that form. So, and we have to go back the whole entire year and make sure they've been signed off on and they can check in for errors and stuff like that. So it's very, very, very time consuming, very profitable. That's always important. Yeah. But now I'm back. And of course, since I've been back, we have a new vehicle in place. Don't we, Chris?
Yes. Ooh.
Yes, I do have I managed to get a new Squatch wagon. For years, I was using a Hyundai Sonata of all things.
Recommended by OJ.
That's right. I have a Bronco. A Bronco Sport, that is. I didn't get the big one because, I do have to intermingle in the cities once in a while. So I want something I can... just for when the old parking spot, but I love it, and the 4-wheel kicks ass. So that's all I can say. But and of course, if you're a Jeep person, we understand that too, or a Dodge person, or a Chevy person.
I love Ford. There's nothing wrong with it. That's fine. But when all worst comes to worst, when it comes down to it, I am a diehard Jeepster. I believe firmly in the Jeep. But I'm not driving a Jeep now. I love the Broncos. They look great. And the nice thing about when you've got like Mr. Brand New Bronco here, you can drive around, have a nice, comfortable ride, and then just, you know, whatever moment you choose, you can go off-roading, lock it in, whatever you do, punch a button probably.
Just turn a dial.
Yeah, you turn
a
dial, and now you're off-roading. So, you know, that's great.
And that was the strangest thing to get used to is that this doesn't have a shifter. It doesn't have a shifter on the floor. It has a dial.
Yeah.
So you put it in park. But the funny thing is you just take one finger and roll it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in drive. I'm in reverse.
Well, you know, that's the nice thing about new cars is, you know, they can tell you simple stuff, and a lot of people, you know, they may not like that, but
Bob says he lives in Toledo. I kind of have to like Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob. Hey, you know what? He missed the roll call because he snuck in late. Hello, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
And of course, we got
welcome.
Prairie Fire in. Good to see you as well.
Prairie Fire, welcome.
Bob, yeah.
Yeah, we love Jeeps in Kentucky because, you know, we have a lot of mud and hills. And that's what Jeeps were made for.
Aaron says he's driving a Ford Fiesta over here. It's a nice little car, but off-road, no, not even a little.
I don't know, Aaron. I mean, I went to high school with a buddy of mine. His name was Chris. He had a Ford Fiesta. Of course, now we're talking, this has been a day or two ago now. But we would go camping out over at Barren River Lake over at Beaver Creek. And he could back his car out into the water and literally have only the front wheel. Of course, it was front wheel drive. He could have only the front wheels still out of the water and then drive back out, you know. So they really go. Yeah. It's surprising. Yeah. I'm sure they haven't gotten worse.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I have actually been out squatching a few times because I got the Jeep. You kind of, because I got the Bronco, you're kind of bored. Like, hey, you come on, let's go. You know, I'm not I just, out I go.
It's like a ride, yeah.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing too. Is these things are so new. All these new vehicles are so technically entangled. I plug my phone in, it goes right to the maps. You know, but the neat thing is I have a lot of little neat apps on my phone, and a lot of them will come through Android, you know, CarPlay. Yeah. So I can sit there and listen to my Audible very easily. But I also have something called Scanner Radio, so I can listen to the police frequencies or the fire frequencies, and it pipes in through my car. Yeah. So it's really, really a fun ride. Cool. And yeah. So anyway, let's get to it.
Sorry, I just like the looks of that Jeep. I mean, that Bronco. Sorry, man.
I do. And like I said,
to me, your Bronco is a Jeep because I love Jeep.
it rides like a boss too. I mean, today especially because today I was over some rough roads, and I had to do a little bit of rock climbing a bit to get around because obviously this road is not very well cared. So, you know, did I hit bottom a couple of times? I may have rutted maybe once, twice, but nothing major, only in one spot. And the only reason why I did it twice is because I went over that area twice. Yeah. But no, it's an awesome ride. I love it. So did it come with gloves?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay. We get off the different things, but hey, it's related to Bigfoot and Sasquatch because, you know, you got to have a good field vehicle, and sometimes it's important to have a 4-wheel drive.
Yep. So anyway, first up for the night, we're gonna do a couple of videos tonight.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I had I'm actually missing a picture. Hang on a second. There it is. So I was actually kind of disappointed because I didn't notice this until late in the game. But and I was like, oh, and this is like a couple hours before showtime that I actually had to change some feelings on this video. So I thought, hey, you know what? Why ruin the surprise? Here we go. So we're going to talk about this video that came out. It was posted on August 5th. By this pastor. Now, I believe this pastor has also been going on the Sasquatch Chronicles a couple of times. I'm not sure if that was him the first time. I know there was a show with a pastor on it, but now he was on apparently he was interviewed again. I don't know. I haven't really listened. I didn't have time to follow up on that particularly to hear him talk about it. But here is the post written by him on this. I'm not sure if this is an Instagram page. I believe it's an Instagram page Sasquatch believers only. Just a few days ago, Saturday, it was 7 a.m. I was outside my prayer room. Now, mind you, he's a pastor, drinking coffee, when I noticed something moving quickly across 2 pastures over from my property. It was heading north. I quickly grabbed my phone and tried to record it. This thing was reddish in color, very broad at the shoulders. The strange thing is that it looked like it was carrying a white-tailed deer on its back, but it was still moving faster than a man. Later, I went to check out how deep the grass was, and it was over 3 feet tall where it was traveling, so I figured it would have to have been at least 7.5 feet tall. I live outside Royce City in Texas in the country. Please tell me what you think. Well, folks, what we're going to do now is we're going to show this video. We're going to show it enhanced as well because I've been working on that. I did that this morning before all the travels. And so here goes the video. I'm going to stop my camera for a second, let this roll. Now,
so the pastor was looking over across the pasture.
Correct.
Okay.
And then when we're done with that, I'm going to roll out a few things I found out, and then we'll roll out our analysis. But first, I want to heal. I'm thinking about a pastor.
He healed.
What we're going to do is we're going to pass it off to the crowd, see what they think so far.
Well, I have a question too. You know, what do pastors and pastures have in common?
I don't know, Chris. Is there an actual joke to that?
I don't know. I just asked.
What do they have in common? Let me ponder on that. Okay, here's the video. You got me all.
Sorry, man. Go ahead. I'm bad.
That's all good. All right, here we go. So there it is, running in the back.
Still moving. I can't get no closer.
Now you hear what he said. I can't get no closer.
Steve, you're muted, bud. Still muted.
I know. I always forget to unmute myself. So anyway, I know we've had a lot of comments in the chat room. Really could be a lot of things. Sure is moving. Person on a bicycle, maybe. Yeah. Aaron says, I don't know, maybe carrying whitetail. No definition to the object. That's a thing. Interesting, but hard to say. Maybe a sweater jacket or a bag that's white, white on their back. Inconclusive. Maybe the music was too loud and it scared it away. That was good. Yes, it wasn't maybe the chicken scared away. And maybe Pastor needs to replicate it with a well-known sized human. Well, let's go in. He actually had seen it with his own eyes. He didn't take a video of that. I mean, he's not a Sasquatch researcher, right? He's a witness. So anyway, we deal, of course, what do I do, Chris? I do my due diligence, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, yes, even though he was using a screen name and all this other stuff, I managed to unmask it. I'm not going to say who he is, of course, but I did manage to unmask him. There he is actually on a video sermon, doing a video sermon and, doing his churchy thing, his churching thing. And actually, you know what? Let me do this too. So I'm back. So that is true. But now, and this is something I wanted to bring up too, thanks to knowing who he was, I actually looked at the church property and realized that was not it. And then I looked at his own property and realized, pa-ching, we have the area of the shooting, just like that says. He said he was, in his prayer room having coffee from my property and 2 pastures away. So the pastor is correct on the pastures because this is the actual property in the lower right-hand corner. Right. And you can see there's even chickens. Yeah. So there's the chicken coop with the chickens actually roosting while the satellite map was being taken. As you can see, that is the approximate camera angle. You can see there's a little bit of the tree that was in the video on the right-hand side, and you can see this is the direction of travel of this particular subject. So he's being truthful about where he was. He's being truthful that it was 2 pastures over. So, does that, and he's, stating, hey, I saw this with my own eyes. It was, it was carrying this. And even though, he just grabbed a cell phone and he did what he could do with it.
Right.
So basically, what do people think now that some of the correlating data has come in? Hey, it makes me think pretty good on it, right? Wouldn't you say, Chris?
It seems like it's leaning towards, believability of the story. Okay. Not the quality of video that we see here.
So by a show of hands in the chat room, yes or no? Now, yes, meaning it's possible. No, you don't think this is a Bigfoot at all, and I think this is a waste of time. So hit that yes or no buttons from that, and we'll cue the Jeopardy music. Boom, boom. Anyway. So we got a couple that said, Lowrider says yes, it's possible. B says no. Aaron says our eyes are generally way better than a cell phone camera. Think about how the photo on the moon looks beside with your eye. True. Yeah. I lean toward yes. East Texas is known for Sasquatch. Bob's a maybe. Definitely, perhaps. Alan, welcome, Alan. He says no. Okay. Ammon Chris says, why is that running during the day? Well, I always say, even if it's not, we see nocturnal animals even during the daytime. I mean, every once in a while you see a raccoon, or I've got a picture of a porcupine, puttering around. I've seen a fisher cat in the mid-afternoon as well. Yeah. And you see deer in the daytime, and they're primarily nocturnal. They all have the tapetum lucidum in their eyes. So who knows? It happens. They get disturbed. A nocturnal animal predominantly moves at night, but it does move during the day too. Ask any particular and Alan. Well, yes, that's right. Alan, welcome. Lance says possible. So we got a bunch of answers in the chat. The Squatch wanted breakfast. Yeah, you never know. Food, maybe something disturbed it. That can always get it moving and around. So, are we ready, folks, for the analysis? Because I always say a video is only as good as the story behind it. Now, the story seems pretty good, but it's a two-part relationship. You still got to do video analysis, and you still have to do that story. If either one fail, then it's no good. And usually you can get one or the other to fail. So, and B's ready, and she's got, I don't know what that is. It's a smiley face. Is that carrots? Candy corn?
I don't know. I don't speak emoji.
I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, let's run this video. So I'm going to stop my camera, and here we go. So here it is. Cheering emoji. It's a horn with streamers out of it. Seems very straight line there, doesn't it, Chris? Yes, that's right. This appears to be CGI.
Let me see you, Steve. Where you at? There you are.
Yes, this appears to be CGI.
Man.
Well, here's the thing. Here is the thing. I just took 2 examples of probably about 4 on the film.
Yeah.
When I release the film to the channel, it's going to have all of them. But it also tends to blur every single time it passes like a fence post.
Right.
So this is very indicative. The real indicative thing is that pixel that misses during the tree.
Right.
If I get this video back up, I'm gonna mute it real quick. And that's the beauty of this, is the pixel that misses during the tree, especially when you go to the slow motion part here, you'll see it, and then the tree disappears, and then it pops back. That's not pixelation. And you can see when it disappears square. That's because the block of the CGI subject is actually blocking out that particular block. So, and you can see. So what happens is the subject is more pixels than the actual frame it's in. So what happens is it moves towards objects that are really there, that are actually there. It tends to have that kind of effect.
Yeah. But now, Steve, now what are you going to say to the people that say, but wait a minute, Steve, hey, I am a firm believer that these are not biological creatures, and what we're seeing here is direct evidence of a portal, interdimensional portal.
Well, I don't necessarily think that is any evidence of a portal, but it was just the missing frame. People say, "Oh, see it cloaked out while it was running."
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that may be the argument that comes next to
It will
this
be.
one.
It will be.
It will. Oh, it cloaked out. Well, it didn't. Well, it happened to cloak out, probably a couple of feet of the tree or the bush. No. And the other interesting thing too is there was in the original video. If you watch the original video, in the original video, it's hard to tell. Because I don't have the zoom as, but you can see you have that tree pixelation, but it does a lot of different things like stops on a dime. There's another little blurb by this post if you happen to notice.
Yeah.
As it goes by that post, there's another stutter.
Yeah.
Boom, right there.
Right. Yeah.
And then it comes to a stop, a complete stop. Now, normally something running that fast doesn't come to a complete stop, and then it starts at the same speed again. So there, and then it disappears, comes back, and then it disappears just before that fence again. Well, so there's like several different times it disappears before, and it's always before and after an object that it comes through. It's obviously CGI.
Well, my analysis is of the whole video that,
and
I think there's evidence to suggest there was a chicken present, and that's all I can say about the
several
whole video.
And a rooster. Well, we do have we did send the spy satellite over, and we can confirm that there were chickens. Right there, chickens. We do know
that confirms that the noise we heard in the background was indeed a rooster.
Right. And Prairie Fire's right. It's unnatural, and that's what struck me at first. And looking at the video was, remember the Memorial Day footage?
Yeah.
Now that was how many years ago? That was 94.
Long time. Yeah.
94, 96, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think it was 94. And whether or not that's real or not, I mean, that was taken with an older model video camera, more pixelation, one would think, right?
Right.
But in that video, you very clearly see our feet moving. In that video, you see nothing but this dark thing moving. And at first I thought, did something get set on a clothesline and just, because there's no head movement, there's nothing, there's no motion movement. It just seems to go straight across. And then stops on a dime.
Yeah.
And then goes at the same speed again. That's not natural. It does not happen. You're going to have to stop. And when you stop yourself, you can't stop yourself on a dime like that. It's called momentum. You have that momentum. So it looked to me like, that's what kind of made me think maybe this is a Sasquatch, because we know their heads don't normally bob. They kind of glide.
Yeah.
But what I didn't see was those long legs of Sasquatch, or the legs or the long arms of a Sasquatch running, and a deer over its back.
Dude.
So
he might as well have been describing its eye color.
Yeah. Exactly.
I couldn't see none of that. I mean, to me, okay, it was just a blurry video of something, but what, I have no idea. And there is evidence. I'm with you. There's evidence of CGI. We've got a lot of jerky movements. We've got a lot of things disappearing and reappearing.
And that's the number one. That is the number one thing. And you know what I'll do is I will also take this video and send it out to a couple of buddies of mine who are in the video industry and say, hey, there are a lot of apps on phones that you can take a video and add something to it. And we've seen it in the paranormal world. They add ghosts and stuff like that. I mean, yep.
But what it confuses me, if they're going to do a CGI though, why wouldn't they have made it a little bit better quality? Because
you see, the whole idea there is if you make it too close, if you make it too close, then it would be even more obvious, I think. You know, like that Russian one with the baby, supposedly holding the baby. Yeah, very obviously. So, and mind you, it's an app. So if you bring it in, and who knows, maybe it was tried closer, it didn't look real, but the tree line was right there. Perfect opportunity to do that. But it doesn't look like anything real is
Steve, I know we're looking at the bird's eye view of the area here.
Yeah.
Can you remember if you did like a pan out, was there like any densely wooded areas around, or is this
quite a distance? Quite a distance. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't throw me off from it because hey, they do move across open ground.
I mean, there are a lot of farms there, and there's a lot of open country there.
Right.
To the north. If you're looking at this where you're orientating yourself, I don't know which orientation is because the way I set the map up to avoid trying to identify this man's property via satellite.
Right.
But to the upper above the upper left, there is a small pond with a pasture, and then it's just pasture, a lot of open, and then maybe a half mile there's some a little more denser brush.
Right.
To the right of it, maybe a couple of miles, there is more dense forest or more forested area, I should say. But how it would move through this area and not be seen by somebody else is kind of boggling. So that's a
lot of open area to cross.
But could it be possible that a Sasquatch could make its way there? Yes.
Sure.
But given, and Lowrider, my conclusion is saying, as Pastor is lying, given what I am seeing here, yes, the video looks off, given with the evidence I have. And like I say, we will refer this to experts, but my analysis is this is CGI, and you can see the missing pixels. And that was just two of probably about 4 or 5 different examples on that film. But these are the two that really scream because they were out in the open. The other ones are around the posts or around another tree. There was one particular pixel where it seemed to expand a bit and go poof. So it's kind of moving like this. And that, if anybody's has any knowledge of ufology, that was one of the telltale signs of using CGI in a UFO video, was this undulating type of movement in that. And because Sasquatches don't ungulate, they're bipedal. So like a bear can ungulate, a deer can ungulate. Anything on 4 can ungulate because they can move their front and back and scooch their back legs in. But this is a biped. Why is it that we have a wider section? And I could have done that too, but time was given what you guys are going to see in a little bit more. I had like quite a bunch of it. I had another video to put together, plus upload a bunch of other videos that were taken today. So
what's your final thoughts, Steve?
So isn't it sacrilegious for a pastor to lie? I have no idea.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you my final thought on the video and you give me yours. We'll swap it out here. Okay. To me, the video in itself is completely inconclusive, and it's not evidence of anything other than there was a rooster present somewhere. Regardless, and even though that's said, it's not really wasn't really any good evidence anyway, but it has questionable sections in it as well. So that's the thing. It does have sections that sort of do look like it was put together, but I don't like it.
Former everything. About time, man. I've had nothing in my needle for weeks. I'm clean again. Yes, we're back. John Swan says, Pastor, hello, welcome, John. Pastor Disaster.
John.
I don't know. I'm not going to. This is leaning towards CGI. The unnatural movement of it, the lack of really motion on anything. Those are all telltale signs of CGI. The missing pixel as the subject walks, it seems to move a block of pixels behind it that obscure certain areas, like edges, which is common for cheap apps that make you put things into pictures like that. What's the possible benefit for an actual pastor to go with this lie? I am not sure, but you know what? you have to look at the psychology of things sometimes. He's kept anonymous. I don't know. But let's also buck up too that is this the same pastor that was on the Sasquatch Chronicles before? Is this the same? I've heard, and this is going to take further investigation, and I will. But I remember a year and a half ago listening to a pastor talking about an anonymous pastor talking about his Bigfoot, his congregation having Bigfoot sightings and talking about that. Is this the same pastor? Be very interesting if it is, because then what it happens is that you have everybody, people have flaws. People want to belong. People, and people don't want to put in the work, to belong.
Prairie Fire's got a good comment there. Nephilim angle. Yeah. Bigfoot's in the Bible.
Possibly.
To
but,
some, some believe that.
But who says that? And I hate to think really bad, but look what we got out of the Sasquatch Chronicles before, Bob Garrett. Is this somebody pumping a show up to make it more interesting? I don't know. I don't know what the motive is. But we do know there are psychological motives that people want to belong or want to feel special or important in certain groups. He doesn't kind of fit that profile because he is a pastor of a church.
Yeah.
But don't know. Don't know at all. Don't know why. But B says, please look into it. And I will.
Pastor a liar. Okay. Nobody's calling the pastor a liar. We're saying that this is really not evidence and it has questionable things within the video.
It's looking to me like it's CGI. There is no definite answer on this yet till it gets out. But my analysis, this is CGI. Now, if you want to take that, is the pastor lying? Well, obviously, if he says he saw something and it proves that it's CGI, that proves it, obviously. But then again, we've dealt with people that's hoaxed before. Good God. Remember 2008, Chris? We had a cop that was lying about having a dead Bigfoot body.
Yep.
So I don't put it past anybody. We forget that there was a very well-known pastor that lied. I mean, have pastors lied before? Jim Baker, Jerry Swaggart, Jerry Swaggart.
Just a few times, yeah.
Jim Jones. Jim Jones.
Yep.
So yes, anybody, any human is fallible.
Yeah.
And any human is fallible. So who knows? We will,
sometimes you have bad people that use the church to gain position and power.
Or sometimes you have a person that gets a little misguided over something.
Right.
It could be, I'm just having a little fun.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's trying to make an example of the Bigfoot community too. I don't know. Don't know. But 15 minutes of fame. I don't know. He's coming out anonymous as this pastor, but it didn't take me no time to find out who he was.
You can't remain anonymous from the Kulls.
But the funny thing is, Chris, I didn't use any back channels. Yeah. No back channels. Like, sometimes if I need to, I can go into my private investigator mode and use back channels, but I didn't. This was all straight up just, okay, let me look at this. Okay, let me look at this. Okay, let me look at this. And everything was there for me to see that anybody could have done. But, I don't know. To me, the analysis is CGI right now. That's what it is. And we'll have more on this in the upcoming weeks and months. See if we can't get some definitive answers from perhaps a photo expert or a video expert. So, but to me, it may be just to proffer up a very popular radio show. That's all I'm thinking. That's my thought. Well, Mary, here's the thing. Maybe it was somebody else's video and he took credit for it. Well, it's definitely on his property. That's his property there. So we know it was shot on his property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Nani. Hi, Nani.
No, and he says, hey, no solar panels. That's right. There's a battle in Middle Grove over solar panels. My town. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, though. It's kind of a, you don't want to take this beautiful
you guys
landscape.
don't like solar panels, heathens. I like solar, man. There's nothing better than turning sunshine into money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anywho, that's part one. I think.
No politics.
Yep, no politics. But anyway, that's part one. So
we're going to cover the other one coming up.
Oh, well, am I going to cover the other one coming up? Okay. This was a user request. Let me just pull up the files here because that one is not loaded into my my queue here. Shies.
I like the little graphic you put with the little man running. You should have put some little wavy hairs coming off of him.
Why is it doing that? I hate when it does that. Hang on a second. I gotta find that the lead off graphic for this. And obviously I have not. Well,
I probably messed you up, man, because we watched it before the show started.
No. I didn't have the right
Sorry,
graphic
folks.
loaded in. So I'm gonna have to go into this real quick here.
I'm big.
I apologize, folks. Sometimes we have so many graphics that we come up with. There we go. So here we are. We're going to talk about the Idaho video, if it even qualifies as the massive Idaho Bigfoot. And of course, there is this channel on YouTube, which I don't like to bad mouth other YouTubers, but you know, do I think they made this? No. Do I think they post stuff because it gets them hits? Yes, obviously. We don't do that here. Otherwise, we'd have every Bigfoot video under the sun trying to get clicks.
Right.
No, we sit there and analyze them, and most of them we shoot them down. So anyway, this is from NVTV. Said, when we posted this video yesterday, a lot of you asked, where is the full clip? There is no full clip, as this is how we got it sent to us. Yes, this was filmed somewhere in Idaho, USA. This is 50-50 debate over this footage, as some of you are saying this is real, others are saying it's fake. Either way, you see it. Explain one thing. Who is in that so-called expensive Hollywood detailed suit? Who in their right mind would buy or go into all that trouble just to film a short clip hoping to hoax people? It just does not make any sense. Most of the pranks or fakes don't spend a lot of time or money to trick people online, and you can tell right away when you see it. Like we said, there is absolutely no gain or fame in that. Well, let me rebut that, first of all. Number one, gain or fame is only one aspect of fame or gain is only one aspect of why people hoax. Some people like to make other people look like asses.
Yep.
You know, and you don't have to make a detailed suit or buy a detailed suit. What can you do? You can rent a detailed suit. So, you know, automatically they're making a lot of assumptions that they either made it or bought it. Well, number one, they could have rented it. You know, you can go to a good costume store and rent a Bigfoot costume. Not a big deal. This looks like a very good one. Who knows? Who knows if it's not for some TV production? You don't know. The fact is they've made a lot of assumptions here that this is actually coming from somebody that is good. Where is the full? There is no full clip, as this is how we got it sent. Yes, I can guarantee you that there is a full clip somewhere because you've missed the whole point of it actually going. And literally, the clip is 2 seconds, and literally, you missed the entire part where it's walking unobscured by any brush.
Right.
They have a picture of it outside the brush. For example, they have a picture of this. Come on. Sorry, it's taking a while to load because I got a lot of pictures loaded. like that. Okay, so we're given that picture.
Right.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, Chris. I got to do a little house cleaning here.
Yeah, man.
So we don't crash the server
Well,
here.
you know, this is not the first Bigfoot video to come out of Idaho either. Last year, year before, they had that big the video of the big guy up on the hillside above
and then we have this one. You know, so we don't have any clip. We just have a couple of like 2 frames.
Right.
How many frames can you get in 2 seconds?
Not very many. Yeah.
You know, they show it taking 1 step, and then they show a clip of it taking another step. To me, if NBTV is guilty of anything, they've gotten the real clip. Here's shot 1 or shot 2, and now something else is opening up. What the? There's shot 1, and this is shot 2 or shot 1. The other one was shot 2. So there you have 1. And now you have the other one.
Right.
What happened to, any video that happened from here to here?
Right.
Why don't you see that? Why is that not in the video? Why are they trying to hide the feet of the creature? Even though they may show some feet. But the one thing that really gets me is, to me, it looks like they got a video and they cut it up a bit just so they can get a little just so they can get a little traction.
Right.
And this is how it got sent to us. That's
they edited out the part that were obvious that you could see. Oh, that's a suit.
Yep. So if we go into a close-up of it, now here's an interesting thing. When we look at, and I'm going to try to, what do you see missing in this photo? Where? Right here. Because if something is walking and it's scuffing its arms, you're going to have a lack of hair. Just like you look at a guy that's hairy, like me, you have no hair or very limited hair on your sides, on your hips, where your body basically moves to and fro all the time because of friction. Hair does not grow there, or it falls off relatively quickly. Yep. So you're seeing that. So to me, that's indicative of a costume. It may look a little ratty, may look a big deal. You can do that. You can gnarl that up and make it look like it's been rolling around.
Sure.
And what you see is some nodding, but you don't see any hair wear. Like you don't see skin. You see more hair. Here is another great picture. Same thing. You don't see any wear anywhere up here. In fact, it kind of even looks a little bit wrinkled in here. But this is just my summation. It just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, I had about 1 million objections to this video.
Now here is what I'd like to say right here.
Wow.
See
what
that
a calf muscle. My God.
Right. But the calf muscle.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Yeah.
The calf muscle doesn't bulk up unless you're towing off. The foot's lifted.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Right. It wouldn't bulk up like that necessarily when you lift your foot. It really starts to bulk up when you put your foot down and flex it. In that position, it's at rest. The other thing, and very interesting, is it's very straight-legged coming in.
Yeah.
It locks its knees. Patty didn't lock its knees the way many people describe a Sasquatch. They don't lock their knees.
Yeah.
Because they're not flat-footed. So that's why we have a very deep heel impression, and we have the roll where we kick off with our toes. A Sasquatch, if it locks its knees, that's why it's flat-footed. Part of the reason why you get such a
maybe I just caught Bob's comment that maybe it rides a bicycle.
It very well could be. You never know.
It's got a heck of a calf muscle that's already flexed, and it's not even flexing it. That's pretty good. Oh, man.
Aaron says it looks like a couple of stills, a guy in a suit, even a mannequin, and photoshopped them into it some art. Yeah, very well could be.
Yeah. Well, they did somebody somebody was walking, because they do show a 2-second, count them,
They do.
2-second video clip, and then that's it. And the video is supposed to be from an anonymous source. Okay, red flag number 1.
Yep.
It's 2 seconds long. Red flag number 2.
Another good point, Jay. Head seems too small for the body.
Yeah.
It's
bulky, but
yep.
Are we seeing movement, muscles flexed with movement?
And
picture.
It's funny. I know he's probably on a binge right now, but it was actually Mick that recommended we look at this one real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick isn't here tonight. Shame on him. He's gonna. Well, it's kind of our fault. We've kind of made him used to not tuning into us at Sunday nights anymore.
Well, with Jay's point, the head too small for body. I don't know if we could really say that because we don't know. There could be a small-bodied Sasquatch with a large head.
Well, I don't know that Cliff Crook Bigfoot that came out back in the 80s. That was actually a miniature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that had a tiny head too, with this huge, like, looking up, like, yeah, that's not a Bigfoot. Look at that blade of grass next to it; it's about 3 feet tall.
This wide, yeah.
That's a blade of grass. What kind of plant is that?
Yeah.
It's grass.
That was good, precious. I love that.
And then Cliff Crook kind of makes the assertion that people recall. Oh, I was the special advisor to Harry and the Hendersons. No, you weren't. You're not in the credits. Go sit down.
Oh, man.
It doesn't seem to swing its arms. That's another interesting thing. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Curious Cryptid, good to see you, Steve.
Steve,
2 seconds of stop motion is a lot of work. I agree. Yeah. To me, it's somebody in a suit, and maybe it was brushed up, but it's very hard to brush up on video. And even though I think what the problem is the reason why there's only that much video is because, that's the best frames you have of this that looks the most realistic.
Bingo. That's
right.
It.
And that's the reason why we have that's why we have the frame missing all in here.
Yeah.
Why do we have
it's
walking way out in the open because it's not going to look natural.
Right.
Not going to look natural. Maybe the foot's flop. I don't know.
Another red flag. The cameraman person, woman, whatever, whoever filmed this was standing directly in the open.
Yeah.
Right there within feet of the supposed creature. And the creature does not bother to worry about walking across that completely open area, sunny area there.
Right. Right.
I mean, something's kind of there's so many red flags, man. That's all I can see. Red flags.
It looks like it has a mullet too. Well, that would make it a southern Sasquatch, not an Idaho Sasquatch.
Hey.
Bob says, I still say it looks like a Bob Ross painting. Yeah, it does. It does look, but there is movement in it. Because of YouTube being the way they are, I'm not showing another YouTuber's video.
Nah.
So I have to show stills instead.
Yeah, if you guys want to watch, it's on the NVPV channel if you guys want to watch it. But we don't want them hitting us up and saying, "Oh no, you're using my content."
Right.
Even on the 2 second clip, you can see the head bob.
Yeah.
And that even with that, they're only showing 2 seconds. It's enough right there. He said, "Well, that's not typical of a Sasquatch."
Boy, John says, Steve and Chris, bring in the woo. Curious Kip, this is probably the best 2 seconds that look the least fake. I agree. Yeah. Little Ryder says, Todd Standing is laughing at this lack of effort.
Yeah, Steve's got it there, man. The best 2 seconds that look the least fake. That's it, Steve. Yeah.
Yoda Roa says, hell, Little Ryder too funny. It sure is. Hey,
Lowrider, that's a good point. Says Todd Standing is laughing at this lack of effort. I don't know.
Well, you know what was the funniest thing? When I got Rick Dyer to bust on Lyndon Newton Perry because he was such a bad hoaxer. Remember I did that, and then I did that. I go, you think you're a bad hoaxer? Check this one out. Next thing you know, he's ripping on her. Oh, good Lord. But good, it's got to be back. God, it's good to be back. I almost completely flipped those words. But anyway.
Well, you know, when I first found this, I did a Google search, okay, and it popped up to this video. I'm like, oh, that's only like, you know, recent.
Yeah.
So I'm all excited. I click on the link and it goes to, and it shows us like 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, where's the rest of it? So I'll go straight to YouTube from the news story. Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, come on,
horrible,
dude.
horrible.
I was all excited for nothing.
Horrible. I tell you, horrible. So anyway, moving on. In our last segment for the night, and this one's going to be kind of exciting. We actually have I have an interview of a witness. We've disguised his voice, and I did a pretty good job on the voice disguising, except I accidentally disguised my voice in one statement. So, but I was kind of in a hurry. So
we know it's you, though.
It's me.
Oh man.
Oh, hey, Nani, that's a good point too. Arms are too short. And his YouTube channel is full of the stuff he's made.
Yeah.
Aaron says, I ducked over there to watch it. She looks like a side China. And that's another point. Yeah. This could be somebody, you know, getting ready to launch a movie. Remember before we took the break, we had the infamous Mississippi footage there. That turned out that it was part of this show that lasted 4 episodes about these guys, you know, kind of like a spin-off of Mountain Monsters, except for it was in Louisiana.
And here's something too. I haven't, you know, I just recently saw this video, so I haven't researched it much more. But this film clip, this 2 seconds, and don't ask me how, this 2 seconds looks familiar. And I'm going to check through the scenes of a movie called Letters from the Big Man.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking they may have a 2 second clip out of that movie.
Very well. I haven't seen that one, so that very well could be.
Don't ask me how my brain is coming up with this, but I've seemed to recognize a clip. Yeah.
You see that? See, I love how, you know, over the years, Chris has gotten very snarky with, you know, I got to look at this film. You know, he's like me now. He looks at something going, what the hell?
You know, you got to be careful, not bite. I mean, you know, you got to check out what's out there before you bite. And if I see something that I like, hey man, I'll tell everybody, I'll tell the world, I like this. You know, if I don't like it, well, okay, I'm going to tell you. Now, I'm not going to accuse you of being a jerk or something, but you know, hey,
it's not real until NK says it's real.
Well, you know, hey, I don't agree with everything that MK says, but you know, he's done some really good work on video before.
It's just all the summations are pretty horrible.
Right. Yeah. He sees a lot that I don't see. That's fine.
And that's true. That's true. Steve made a very good point. Even more likely, part of a movie that will never be. Might as well use the pitch clips, and that very well could be. That could be from a movie trailer somewhere where, dun, there's Bigfoot in the woods.
After the show tonight, I'm going to find that Letters from the Big Man video and see if I can't find a similar clip. And if I do, we'll expose this for what it is.
Yep. So before we get on to the main feature tonight, and we always say we're trying to say some of the best for last. And of course, we're going to interview. You're going to hearing an interview and a description on site of a Bigfoot witness. I happen to believe the guy. I've talked to him quite a bit. He's been very, very excited finally to talk to somebody about this that doesn't think he's crazy.
Yeah. And go ahead, tell him, Steve. This is not from last year or 2 years ago.
Well, the sighting is from a couple of years ago, but
well, I'm talking about the. Never mind.
Oh
never mind.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't want to spoilers.
The cherry on the cherry on the sundae.
Spoilers, yeah.
And we really mean Sunday in this matter. So we're going to roll the video in a second, but this guy is quite a legit guy. And you know, I'm so glad that I got to meet him and got to speak with him. Very responsive, not looking for notoriety or anything like that. You know, you get a feel for a person when you start talking to them about what they believe they saw. And we always put that in the back of our mind. Well, maybe they misidentified things. You always got to keep that in mind. Well, I'm just going to roll the film.
I was traveling northbound between 8:30 and 9 p.m. During the summer of 2018. And it was a very nice day. I had the windows open for the first time in a while. It had cooled down. And as I hit this intersection, or where that car is down there right now, I saw something cross the road within 4 steps, ran right by a large white Chevy Suburban that was parked here waiting for me to get past so they could pull out. The thing was 4 steps across Route 9 and zipped right into here between these 2 kind of dead-looking trees. And I'm going to estimate that I saw the head go by the vehicle. It was probably within 3 feet of the Suburban as it passed. It was probably at least a foot and a half higher than the Suburban, so I'm guesstimating somewhere between 6.5 and 7 foot tall. It was gray in color, silver gray. It looked like an old hippie, you know, like a Neanderthal hippie. And the thing about it is I wouldn't have thought anything about it, but the speed was just insane. I've coached football for years. I played football. I've never seen anything travel at this speed. It had to be going 35, 40 miles an hour when it crossed.
Now, what time of day was this?
About 8:30 at night. It was just 9 o'clock maybe. It was just starting. The sun was deep in the sky. It was a nice, you know, clear night. And there was enough light just to see it just right. Another half hour, it would have been too dark to see anything.
Was it stocky? Was it lanky?
No, it was tall. I noticed its arms were longer than its legs. It was kind of a weird motion it ran with, but it didn't bob at all. It kind of just glided. Like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I could say it's like Lawrence Taylor running as fast as you can and about 2 feet taller than Lawrence Taylor.
And traffic here is not that great that particular time.
No, I was the only vehicle headed northbound, and the lady, like I said, was here in a Chevy Suburban, a white one, a late 80s one. She was waiting for me to pull out. When I drove by, I looked where the thing ran, but I turned towards her, and I remember her face. Her jaw was open, and she didn't even notice me driving by. And I was going by I hit the brakes and was going about 10 miles an hour. And she had this stunned look on her face, like she was in awe. And I kicked myself to this day. I should have stopped and asked her what exactly she saw, because she got a 3-4 foot away view of it. You know?
So I mean, to the east of us here, we have a lot of dense brush, and to the west of us, we have a state forest that's approximately about a mile and a half from here.
And about 3-4 feet off the road here is the snook kill. The little snook kill stream comes running down.
There you have it. So, winner, chicken dinner. So, yes. What an amazing day. I just drove up there just to check it out. Didn't realize the road was that rough, but I'm just going to go in there and kick it and see what happens. And all of a sudden, Sherry goes, "Hey, look at that over there." I didn't even find it. That's why it's always good to have more than I'm sitting there shooting footage. She's looking around. And here it is. And the direction it came out of the woods, out of the wood line, behind a kind of like a turnoff almost. I actually, as we were panning to that swamp,
Right.
it would be more to the left of that swamp, more the big lake there, though the big body of water was more to the left, which is where I was parked at the time. No, actually, I was parked a little bit further down. But
that's also perfect though, because what you've got there is a natural corridor. You know.
Oh,
so to place to look for track to look for tracks, perfect.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is it's good old New York State ground. It's very hard.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that this one kind of ruddy area had maybe 3.5 feet of a muddy swath. And that's where and literally it is really, really deep. And I took a look at it and then I saw this feature in it right here. Where you can see toe, you see the break right there,
yeah,
and toe, and there's some obfuscation there, but it's like, damn, not quite sure what's happening, you know, the foot overall, but man, it looks like a legit track to me.
I like the width too. Yeah.
I'm just switching over because I need to find a folder which is over here on the other screen. That, of course, let's move this over here. That's what I should have done in the first place. But yeah, so there it was, and that toe that kind of thing kind of convinced me that, you know, that is. Not an aggressively large print of that. Maybe you know, 12, 13 inches, 11 3/4 maybe. But what got me was the width.
Yeah.
You know, the width of it, you know, 4.5 inches at the heel. You know, all right, we'll take away maybe 4 1/4 at the heel, which is very wide.
Yeah.
So
I measured my heel. It's just a bit over 2 1/4 inches. You know, and I'm a size 11.5.
Yep.
Okay, so
and here's the other thing too. Look at the push up of the mud when this thing came down. It's considerably deep. Probably a good inch deep. You know, there is, I'll get another picture up here. You can see, you know, it's pretty deep. It's in there. As you can see, I've been stepping all around it and stuff, but there was nothing else.
It's not showing, Steve. It's not showing on the screen.
I don't know why. Oh.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh. So, well, I also said it was 4.5. So if you haven't seen the, yeah, you know, it looks like 4 3/4, but it's not. I moved that over a little bit. I didn't want to really disturb any more of that dirt in the print.
Right.
But relatively a fresh print as well. It was not dry at all in there at all. So we did, you know, throw a cast on it. And that's when I was starting. And, you know, of course, the lovely picture of me at work. Pouring it or measuring it. So I was getting, while I was doing that stuff, I was getting pictures taken of me. and, you know, there was other sign, what's with the center toe? Good question. The funny thing is, I've seen that before. I don't think this is, if you look at it, it kind of rounds out like this. So I don't know if it pivoted maybe, or it stepped and it pivoted and stepped that way. It could be a pivot. Not well.
Yeah, the thing about tracks, sometimes if an animal steps really deep, especially in a muddy area, when it raises its foot up out and it's moving forward, its toe or claws, whichever it's got, will kick the front of the track out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's exactly what happened there. It kicked it out. Now I've seen that third toe being a larger one sometimes. It may have pivoted a bit, but you definitely see some, so it's an interesting print, and it is. And the other thing too is there's no heel impression. There's no, per se, there's no tracking. There's no tracks in it at all.
Right.
So
I like the width. I like the width really.
And it's very large. And, it's not like a snow track where, and BS, one print or more. No, because that area, literally, if I pull up the truck pics, which is really good, you can see the ground. It's, and there I am all cut up from being in the woods. But you can see it's hard ground.
I gotta say, and this is probably, I bet you this is probably like one of those oops situations where, and I don't know why, I can't prove that they do this, but I believe they do this. They kind of watch where they walk, and if it steps in a spot that's kind of soft, it's kind of like an accident.
And I got some bad news too. The back half, the back heel part of the cast did not cure.
Oh man, crap.
It didn't cure, so it crumbled. But the good news is that probably from here up, I have the print.
Okay.
So I have the toes. That is really, but the heel, and the unfortunate thing is, and you really don't see it. It started to rain. So what's happening is, as it's raining, even though I had it covered, and I actually covered it with a camp chair, which is there. There you can see how deep it was, and I mean, mind you, that's a good inch of plaster in there. So you can see how deep that was. That was quite the disturbance. But and then there's rock, and this gets very hard right after there. You can see that it's very hard afterwards. So it just happened to step in mud. And again, there was no track or striations to indicate there was a heel or anything like that. And you know what? True. It may be a slide too. Sometimes, that mud can be slippery. That's just it. It's brown mud. Really, I don't think it would be clay. However, the funny thing is up the trail though, there was, coyote sign,
right,
and there was, I think I got some deer sign here. No, that's more coyote. So there's the deer sign. There was deer, coyote. That actually looks like it may not be a deer.
Yep. Deer.
Yep.
If you're in a wildlife area, kind of difficult. I found some very small prints one time at one of my research areas, and the best one I could find, I've got a picture of it. And when I got the picture home, all I could see were deer tracks, deer scat right in the in the track. It's hilarious. And
as you can see, in this area, even, vehicles weren't making that deep of an impression.
Yeah.
It was, and literally, any walk over there, even walking there, I couldn't make a print. And the ground had gotten wet to boot.
Right.
So I couldn't really, there really wasn't much to find.
That's like a gravel substrate there too. Parts of it, isn't it?
No gravel at all. It's all rock and dirt. It's just compressed dirt.
Okay.
And it's just a rocky area. Even on the, as you saw on the drive in, there's nothing but rock on the road.
Right.
And over, even in there, it's just rock.
Well, that's the thing. When gravel gets really wet, it can leave a little impression. There are certain parts like where the tire tracks are at on the lane or the road that's graveled. If it gets wet, it won't leave much of and ditch in there. But the center will, where the gravel's a little softer after it gets wet, like it's squished down there. I got a track one time in the center of a gravel road like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's even so, like I said, right next to it, but the tracking of it, it just happened to step there. You see, my foot didn't even go in that far.
Yeah,
over there, because it gets really tough. It was just like this one little swath of where the water, the drainage just
right.
Now I know Aaron asked if that location is a secret. My answer right now, it is, because the end of the month the team will be up there, and I don't want to and I have a special operation going out there too, so I actually have a couple of people who have this place under surveillance right now.
What do you weigh, Steve? You weigh about 160, 70, somewhere around in there?
Yeah, about 175.
And you're pressing down deep enough to where we can see the indentions of the pattern on the bottom of your shoe, and that's it.
Right.
So that's probably maybe an eighth of an inch down or so. Now look at the depth of that track.
Yeah, but if you look at the track over here, which I'm sure is me as well, I put a little more indent than over here, because, like I said, it's hard packed here. The groundwater just kind of that way a bit, but you can see that's about how much of an imprint I can make.
Yeah.
And you can see, leaves and pressed right. You can see where something was pressed in there, and that's not a tire. That is not a tire.
Yeah.
Tire can't do that much damage, and you would definitely clearly see tracks in the mud with the tire, because if you got that much striation,
that's pretty good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the other interesting thing. When we first got there in the swamp, just before I started videoing, heard one single lone wood knock, very hollow. We were the only ones there, and all of a sudden we're in there, and when I'm like looking around, okay, this is cool. Let me get this going. The hell was that? And mind you, this is a ways in, so you saw the drive. There's no houses, no nothing around, and especially in the direction it came from. In fact, the road where I was, let me see if I can't get a better picture. The road where I was, which goes to the left in that particular picture, this road continues, but it about another 25 yards up the road, it became impassable because of so much mud and ruts. I wouldn't bother trying to get in there. Probably get in trouble.
Yeah.
So
I like I got a rule of thumb. I like to get 2 miles away from the nearest paved road. Yep. And I believe that once you are at least 2 miles from the nearest paved road, then that's in the area where you got a chance to see something going on.
Right. And so very interesting day, and it's very disappointing. You know what? I left that cast in an hour, and it didn't cure. And I think part of it was the back end didn't cure, and I think part of it was because of the groundwater, the way the ground. Like I said, it was raining out. I was trying to dump the water, but it just would not get. It would not solidify. But the upper portion,
hydrocal.
I was actually using plaster on this one.
Okay.
I have plaster, and I have I do have some basically some cement type of thing, but I haven't tested that yet. And on this track, I really wanted to go with the old, but it was just so deep, so it was a thick pour, and for whatever reason, the back side of this thing didn't cure right about till here, which is unfortunate.
Gentle stone.
Yeah. I mean,
that's good stuff.
Right, but even with the wetness, I probably would have taken 2 hours to. Because it takes dental stone takes a little longer to cure. Plaster of Paris is supposed to cure probably the quickest out of all the things. I've used plaster plenty of times, but
about you can get like 15 or 20-minute plaster now, and it's boom.
Yep.
When I was working on the house here, I used some 20-minute. We call it fast setting mud. Okay, fast mud, quick mud. And a lot of times I would mix it up in my tray, and I'd be working on the wall. And before I got my little spot fixed, it was already setting up. So I'd have to dump the tray. So less than 20 minutes, depending on how dry it's mixed. But I like dental stone. But, I don't do casts anymore. I'm not out there finding them.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike, that's right, man. Dental stone's good stuff. Dental stone's good stuff. And I noticed I made one a cast with it. The first cast I made with the dental stone, I could put my hand like on top of it, and you could feel the heat it was giving off. There was like the chemical reaction, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah. So a couple of questions were, Mike asked, what's the big stones? Well, those are very well into the ground there and there. So they weren't necessarily placed there, but you can see where people drive right by there.
Yeah.
Not that deep. And that was there was no stones nearby to indicate that was a stone anywhere.
Yeah. Those are, on a well-traveled back lane there. Those are oil pan getters right there.
Right. And you can even see in the print that the substrate, oops, we've gone to something wacky here. Okay, so now we're not cooperating here. The substrate, you can see was pushed. I mean, as it stepped. So, and you can see it's the natural, what we expect a track to be is that you should find stuff thrown forward.
Yeah.
And the loose stuff is thrown forward.
Yeah.
Not so sure that leaf was, well, it could have been there prior, but you can see the stuff was thrown forward to it. And not anywhere where somebody would disturb a rock anyway to it. And that's my step over there. So very, very interesting scenario there.
Well, the larger, I'm going to call them mini boulders, are pretty close to the tracks, in which that makes sense too.
Yeah.
That's my own personal theory, that I believe that they try to step places where they know they won't leave tracks. And I can't prove that. But if you ever went out looking for tracks and you found a trackway, and you follow that trackway for a little while, I think you might come to the same conclusion.
Yep. And believe it or not, that track that was right next to it was actually made by a vehicle. Trying to get rid of some of these photos so I can go back to a display where I can kind of manage it a bit.
Yeah.
But the car track. There we are. There we go. The car track was made actually after I had left and come back to cast it, because I got there and I was just going out there for a 10-15 minute shoot.
Yeah.
And try to get a lay of the land a little bit, see how bad it was to get in there. And it's a little bit of a challenge. So where I was parked, we're probably going to hike in to that area, maybe a quarter of a mile. We're going to have our base camp a quarter of a mile up the road from that, just because there's a lot of areas you can put vehicles in that area, and it's a lot less rough. Even on the drive-in, you got to avoid a couple of rocks in the middle of the road. That's how rocky it is. And I tried pulling some out. I did pull a couple of rocks out to see. And when you pull those rocks out, you have a nice clean, surface. There's no pushing of mud or anything like that. Yeah. So yeah, the pullout was something I thought about, but strangely, this is it doesn't look like. And if you look at the dirt itself, it's not darker, or it wasn't darker than the soil that was around it. It looked like topsoil that had been pressed down, But anyway,
it looks like it had some features in the bottom of the track too that would suggest, an actual
foot,
a foot, instead of a flat stamp.
Right. Well, they are very flat-footed, and the one thing I've learned is that, even when Bindernagel looked at my other track from Fort Ann, there is a slight bumpage in the middle of it where the foot flexes, but predominantly it looks flat. And Sasquatch are flat-footed. They have no arch. So they are flat-footed. So their track should look kind of flat.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is it's not a plywood stamper.
Right.
You can tell that by looking.
Well, the other thing about, well, yeah, because then it would have looked like you pulled the rock out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been, a complete no. There would have been no dirt thrown forward, and that was the amazing thing, is the dirt's thrown forward.
Right.
And if you're rolling a rock forward, you're not going to have that explanation.
Right.
And that would be one weird looking rock, wouldn't it? So, and why would somebody pull that particular rock out? It made no sense. That would have been a heavy sumbitch, especially, the depth of that. So, and like I said, I pulled a couple of rocks down the road a bit to see if, to test that theory too.
Yeah.
Nothing. So,
well, I like it. I like it. It's got all the stuff that I like to see.
Right. Well, the fun thing is we're not done with that area. And
right.
The beautiful thing is that area is less than 10 miles from my house as the crow flies. Yeah. So that was that's the huge thing sweet. Right there. So there's going to be
living close to your research area.
Yes, and TAC, you will be seeing that area on the night of the 26th. We're going to be out there. So
let's see, Charlie Wonton made it.
Yes, hello, Charlie. Good to see you. Anyway, a couple of program notes, and we'll be back, of course, next Sunday night. There will be no show on Sunday, September 26th. And we're going to be missing a show also in October. And the reason being is September 25th, I'll be actually announcing the Whitehall Sasquatch Calling Festival. I'll be putting a presentation on there. I'll have a table out there. So anybody that's local, come on up. It's 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It's a free event. There's going to be, vendors. Right now they have over 60 vendors coming there selling all kinds of different wares, not just Bigfoot stuff. There's going to be food, live entertainment, lectures, and of course a beer garden, which I lobbied real hard to have my presentation in the beer garden, but we'll see how that goes.
Go for the Sasquatch, stay for the beer garden.
That's right. I'm going to be moving to the Sasquatch
I think it's
garden.
good, man. I wish I lived closer.
Yeah.
It would be a good chance to get to talk to other people, maybe discuss sightings. Yeah. And plus you have some fun when they do the calling thing.
Oh, I love the kids are awesome. I love pumping up the kids, and like the little kid, every year a little girl will get up there and go, oh, come on, you can do better than that. Come on, get it, summon it up, call it from the inside. And I play, I get them all excited about it, and that's kind of fun. The adults, I got to put my earplugs in this year. But anyhow, so myself, Paul Bartholomew will be up there. Of course, my team will be up there. My TAC will be up there. So we're going to have a good old time up there. And then we're going to go to a certain area afterwards up in the Whitehall area to do a little research that night. And then the next night, we're all poking out to the area where we got the track and heard the one lone wood knock. I didn't bother knocking back or anything like that. I just wanted to see what's going to happen.
Whitehall is a sweet area, man. I mean, to me, it's almost as special as Bluff Creek. Because of the sightings, they compare to me. I feel as good about the cop sighting at Whitehall.
So I'm gonna show somebody one of the projects I've been working on. I'm gonna slide this over here real quick. One of the projects I've been working on is mapping out all the sightings that have occurred over years in this area. And as you can see, there's Whitehall.
What are the red areas?
Okay, so the way I have this coded, this is part of my program, is the red are actual sightings. Whoops, I'm trying to scroll. The red are the actual sightings. Occasionally, you'll see the print. Obviously, the paw prints are the prints.
Yeah.
Trying to get to one. I'm looking at the wrong screen.
There it is. I see it right there on the left.
Yep.
Oh, there's
so the prints are the prints.
Okay.
All right. And then occasionally we have some odd behaviors.
Okay.
I
saw a musical note on there. Is that vocalization?
Those are vocals.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And they're only the vocals that make a lot of sense. But as you can see, as we pan out, and this is the area I live in down here. And as you can see, it's not all necessarily that quiet.
Yeah.
So.
There's some activity, yeah.
Yep. Some activity. I'm just trying to see. So yeah, you can, and the beautiful thing is I can keep, adding to this map, and I have been. And if you look, I go right into Vermont. Remember, people talk about the Vermont trail cam photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people don't know in this cluster, you pull it up, the Whitehall cluster.
Right there. Right? Yeah.
Okay. So zoom in, and we go up here, and there's the Vermont trail cam photo. Right there.
Right. Oh man.
Right. And you look in, like, it's,
yeah,
it's definitely not.
Oh, I love that.
Yep. So yeah, so I also put the sighting descriptions in them and stuff like that. So literally, you have this whole area where the Vermont trail cam photo. You follow this right into Bear Road, Whitehall.
Yeah.
You follow all these little areas that. So definitely has. Now here's an interesting thing. I also just got wind of a Bigfoot sighting report that was not too far right here. People think that's a little close to town, but it's right on the abutment of this.
Yeah.
And then if you go up north, oh, look what we see here. So, like I said, geomapping your area.
And that's a waterway there. Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. East Bay or South Bay.
Makes sense.
And basically South Bay will, take you right into Champlain.
Yeah.
Right into Champlain eventually.
Well, are you hoping to map corridors by doing this?
Well, part of that, yes.
Here,
yes, you start looking. If you start mapping these out, you can start seeing where the cluster sightings are.
Right. I know. You already got.
Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. Just Google has something called My Maps. So if you just type in My Maps and you have a Google account, everybody's got a Gmail somewhere. Especially us YouTubers, because you got to have a Gmail account to get on YouTube. Yeah. So just pop on over to My Maps and you can start creating your own maps. So very useful tool. So, and it's just going to get better. I have more sightings, believe it or not, and this is not just off of, one database. This is off of references and personal accounts and reports I've taken, the BFRO reports, the, Bill Brand's work, Paul Bartholomew's work, they're all getting geomapped. So we kind of can see where there is to,
well, yeah, you should put this up where people can download it or whatever.
Thank you. How do you pronounce that? Yeah. That sounds like an Irish name. Ewan, maybe. Well, welcome. Well, thank you, sir, and welcome, and thanks for stopping in.
Welcome, Big E.
Big E. That's what we're going to call you, the Big E.
Don't want to slaughter your name, bud.
But like I said, we're slowly expanding, and no, there isn't just one sighting out here. I just happened to be reading and thinking it was local, so I thought, well, I'll just plot it. It's there.
Yeah. Don't go to Kentucky. It looks like there's none down there.
Yeah, and the fun thing is that if I wanted to, I could just make this a New York, Vermont map, right, and then create a separate map just for Massachusetts. But to me, it seems a lot more sense just to keep a Bigfoot map, the Bigfoot map.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I've been trying to plot certain areas, and it's kind of funny. I actually found out that there's a place out here that's called Sasquatch Mountain.
Oh wow.
Don't know why, cool, but there was a sighting right close by. So, very interesting stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been doing little stuff here and there, and getting the hard work done. And that's what you need to do, is to take a look at this stuff and then put it basically put it to work for you. You want to get results and research. You got to get in there and put the work to you. And I've used Google Earth for a while to try to do that, and it's a pain, and it doesn't always transfer nicely.
Yeah.
But damn, I use the My Maps. Not only that, I can pull up my phone and pull that map up.
Yeah.
Any device, any browser, if I pull up my map, I can get that. And so that's the real cool thing. And the cool thing is with the navigation in the Bronco, I can pull that map up in the Bronco too.
Oh yeah.
So,
man, that's cool.
So yeah, I can go boom, navigate to there.
I like the Google Earth. I don't use it that much, but every now and then you see something on YouTube or something that's like, oh, I found a UFO in Antarctica or something on Google Maps or Google Earth. So you start looking, well, what is this? Where is it? And you start looking, hey, wow, that does look kind of odd. What is it?
and folks, doing that map is nothing special. You guys can all do it. Just go to My Maps on your Google Chrome bound. Just type in My Maps, hit Google search, and it'll say Google, My Maps, Google. And you can get right to it, and you can create your own map. So, by all means, if do it. Do it. Yeah. It's easy. It's simple. It takes a few minutes. It's amazing the amount, how quickly I was able to do that in the My Maps versus Google Earth.
Right.
So, and you don't.
It sounds like a good wintertime project when you're stuck inside and you can't get out. So around.
It's a good anytime project because it's not that time consuming. I luckily I had a lot of stuff saved on Google Earth. And then literally, I was amazed the speed I did this in. I was like, okay, this is pretty easy. Okay, look at that report right there. So that's what you got to, just some advice out there and have fun with it. And you can make other maps too. Like, I've talked about, for example, a particular serial killing that's happened in our area. And so this is a completely different map. And these are actual serial killings and where the bodies were dumped and everything.
Oh.
And so you can tell I've been researching this very, very diligently as well. And
the pirate.
That was not related. That was not related to my
okay.
my the two bodies that were found, and this goes back. I think they found the last body in 2009, but they both went missing 9 months apart from each other. And the funny thing is that they were right here. This is the main road they were in, right there. That's a common thread. They were both kidnapped from this area. And then one body shows up here. She was killed first, and the second body, this one was killed first. This body was found first. It took them 6 years to find this body.
Yeah,
they found a skull. But yes, it is morbid. But there's a reason why I'm working on that. It's not like I'm just doing that for kicks. There may be some writing coming out of that soon. So yeah. Once you get that author bug, you're looking at other.
I like that last book, man.
Yep.
And if anybody doesn't understand about hoaxing, they need to read your last book. It's good.
Yep. And Patrick Vaughn made them on X Maps. It gives you all the tools and the property boundaries with the owner's names. Don't necessarily know if I want it. Well, that may help finding a few cases. So I'll check that out because I just want to keep it. I don't want to put owners' names on a map because I can actually take that map and share it. I can take that map and post it. I can take sections of that map and post it. And that's the beautiful thing. It's very, very would friendly. I can actually embed that map.
Yeah. Patrick's got a good point, though. I mean, if there's a sighting somewhere and you look it up on that map, you can find out who owns the property and say, knock on their door. Hey, man, you had a sighting back there. You care if I
or you can have a name, which I do. I have some names of sightings that this person or that person found. You can go to that map and find that person. Oh, there they live.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I know what happened there.
Well, in Kentucky, it's really not too bad because everybody knows. Oh yeah,
everybody knows everybody.
Steve owns that section over there, and then John owns this over here.
Hey, Chris,
you know?
Chris, you're lucky when you said, "Yeah, in Kentucky, that's not easy." They're all related.
Oh, that's red.
That's bad. That's bad. Oh. Well, anyway, folks, we're going to kick off the show. We've been yapping long enough tonight. We'll be back here, of course, next Sunday night. Chris, you want to have any few words before we go tonight?
No, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. It's good to see you guys. And if it's the first time watching on YouTube, please, hit the like, subscribe button.
Share.
Or not,
Yeah, or not.
Or
Sharing
not.
is caring. Sharing is caring. And of course, I'm sure somebody hit the thumbs down somewhere down the line.
Yeah, well, whatever you can do to help out the channel. We don't like pay for promotions or anything. It just goes by.
If I have a troll that keeps getting on my videos to keep giving me a thumbs down, at least they're giving me a view. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate y'all, love you all, missed you all. And I'm glad to see that, you're back. We're back. And we got a lot of fun things going on. And we're going to have a lot more video like we had tonight where we're on scene. And we'll talk about stuff and discuss methodologies and all that fun stuff. And if anybody's got any suggestion, anything like that, you can always hit us up with an email. You can get that on the YouTube page. There's a little button with email. Hit that. Give me a shout. You want to suggest a show, want to suggest some things, please do. We're always open. You want to come on the show, give us a holler. We'll talk about it. So we'll catch you all here next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on, of course, Squatch-D TV, where we try to at least, feather out the wheat from the chaff sometimes. So, all right, folks. Thank you. Love you guys. Catch y'all next week. Be safe. God bless. Keep on squatching.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.